Hi, everybody. Beth Combs here with Canyon Community Yoga. Thanks for joining me tonight for our live Wednesday night yoga class. We've been doing hour-long sessions, but we haven't had a lot of live attendees, and we also haven't had a lot of people watching the replay. So we thought it might be a little more helpful to have people be able to do a shorter class instead. So I'm going to try really hard to keep this class to 30 minutes. And we're going to be moving quite a bit, but you can always take a rest in child's pose or downward facing dog. You can rest in Shavasana if you don't have a lot of energy tonight. But we've done a lot of restorative classes the last few weeks, and I think that has been really supportive, at least for me, just with the pandemic and everything that's going on. But I think people are also starting to feel a little stir crazy, so I thought I would do a little bit more of a movement practice tonight. So I hope that you can join me and that you enjoy it and get a lot of nourishment from it. So tonight we're going to start in a seated cross-legged pose. Some people call it easy pose. My hips don't call it easy pose. And so you want to make sure that you're sitting up on your sits bones nice and tall. You maybe have to move the butt flesh out of the way a little bit to make that possible. Just feel really connected to the ground. If your knees are higher than your hips, then you actually want to sit up on something. So I'm actually sitting up on a yoga block, but you could also sit on a pillow or a blanket. So not everyone probably needs the same amount of lift. Just go ahead and get yourself settled in here. We'll take a few nice deep breaths. So sit up nice and tall. You want to lengthen up your spine and pretend you have a string pulling out of the crown of your head towards the ceiling. You can rest your palms on your knees. You can rest them on your thighs. You can place the palms facing up towards the ceiling. If you're feeling a little more receptive this evening, this might feel good. Or you can just rest your hands in your lap. We're going to go ahead and close the eyes here and begin breathing in through the nose. And we'll take an exhale out the mouth to begin. And we'll do that 2 more times. One more time. And exhaling out the mouth is helpful for engaging the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest system. So if you're feeling particularly anxious this evening, you might want to continue breathing that way throughout your practice. Just an invitation. Otherwise, we're going to begin inhaling and exhaling through the nose, kind of the traditional yoga breath. Just continue breathing here. Our theme for this evening, as we begin to pivot out into the world a little bit more, depending on where you live. Your state may be opening up a little bit more, as they say. So tonight's theme is going to be root to rise up. So I just encourage everyone to find things that help them feel more grounded, connected to the earth, connected to their bodies, connected to the things that are important to them, like family and friends. Make those connections first before we pivot out into the world. This helps give us the motivation, the energy, the willpower to create the things we want in our lives if we have a solid foundation to begin with. So hopefully you're feeling connected through your sits bones. Go ahead and take your left or right hand. You're going to place it over top your tailbone on the back side of your body. Kind of breathe into that area. This is your root chakra. Maybe you can envision sitting on a red cube. This is our connection to our tradition, our history, our ancestors. This is our connection to the earth. So let's spend just a little time focusing our breath and our energy on this area to help lay our foundation for our practice this evening. Then we're going to go ahead and bring our hands back to our knees. Go ahead and open your eyes here. We're going to move up to the second chakra, and this is where our the spice of life, the sweetness of life is located. The element associated with the second chakra is water. The second chakra is pretty much located below your belly button, so your pelvic bowl area. So to wake this area up, we're going to do some seated hip circles. So go ahead and inhale, bring your torso forward, exhale, round your back. And then we'll switch directions. Our second chakra also tends to be our emotional center. So if you feel like you haven't been expressing yourself fully, this is a great area to work on and do some focused work in the area and stretch and release the hip area because our hips tend to hold on to emotions. So just an idea for you if you're feeling a little tense or pent up at all, it might be good to do some hip movement to kind of get that flowing once again. And yoga itself is really great for just kind of moving those emotions too. So we're going to go ahead and come forward onto our hands and knees next. And we're going to wake up our abdominal area. So we want our hands and our wrists beneath our shoulders, and we want our knees below our hips. And this alignment will help protect our wrists and also our knees. And I'll move forward just a little bit so you can see me a little bit better. So we're going to inhale, and we're going to start off by just placing the left toes back behind us and the right arm up alongside the right ear. And breathe here. On your next inhale, go ahead and lift the left leg up. If you'd like, if you're feeling unsteady, go ahead and lower that left foot back down to the mat. Otherwise, lift the belly button in towards the spine. You want to stretch those right fingertips out in front of you and press through the back left heel. Then we'll exhale, lower down. And this is kind of waking up our third chakra. This is our area of willpower, our solar plexus. It's located pretty much above the belly button to the lower rib area. So we'll switch sides here. Go ahead and place the right toes back behind you. Inhale, lift the left arm up alongside your ear. Press up out of the right wrist. We don't want to be sinking down into that wrist. Remember to breathe here. If you'd like, pull the belly button in towards the spine and lift the right foot up off the mat. Exhale, lower down. We'll do each side one more time. So right fingertips out in front, left toes back behind us. Inhale. Lift the arm and the leg up. Make sure your leg is not reaching up above your hip. Press the right shin down on the mat to help stabilize you. Exhale, lower everything down. And then we'll switch sides. So left fingertips out in front, right toes back behind. Inhale, exhale, lift up. And we'll exhale, lower down. And then we'll lower into a child's pose just briefly. So you can lower your chest onto your thighs, or you can keep the big toes touching, widen the knees, and lower down to the mat. You can also place a block underneath your forehead if you'd like. You want your tailbone to be reaching towards your heels. And then we're going to lift ourselves back up. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to lay down on our backs for our bridge pose. And so we're going to take a yoga block. We're going to place our ankles underneath our knees. We're going to take our block, place it in between our thighs, and go ahead and squeeze that block. We're going to place our arms down by our sides and set ourselves up for bridge pose. So after the solar plexus, the third chakra, we have the fourth chakra, the heart and lung area. So we're going to inhale and then exhale, lift the hips up towards the ceiling, press the arms down onto the mat, squeeze the block in between the legs. Breathe here. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. Squeeze that block. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. We're going to do that 2 more times. Just follow your own breath. And then we're going to go ahead and take the block, move it off to the side. We're going to roll over to our right side and then bring ourselves back up. And then we're going to go ahead and bring ourselves up to a standing position. And I'm going to actually, it's kind of warm in here, so I'm going to move my sweater over. We're going to do a few rounds of sun salutations. So I'm going to actually step back so you can see me all the way. We're going to do 5 rounds of sun salutations. So we'll inhale, lift the arms up alongside the ears. We want the weight in all 4 corners of our feet to be even. We want our ribs and our frontal hip bones to come together, kind of like a mini crunch. We're going to bring our arms up alongside the ears while sliding the shoulder blades down the back behind us. Exhale, fold forward. Fold the torso down. Allow the neck to lengthen. Inhale, lift the torso halfway up. You can place your hands on the sides of your shins or your calves, but not straight on because we don't want to hyperextend our knees. And then we're going to place our hands on the mat. We're going to exhale and step back and lower down the knees to the mat and then the torso all the way down. Bring the tailbone towards the heels. We're going to inhale the torso up to cobra while keeping all 10 toes connected to the mat. And then we're going to exhale, come up to tabletop, and then back to downward facing dog. Feel free to walk the feet out here, stretch the calves, and then we're going to step the feet up to the top of the mat. We're going to inhale, lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Feel free to bend the knees here if the hamstrings are tight. And then we'll inhale, sweep the arms up and around. And exhale the arms down by the sides. So we'll do that 4 more times. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway up. Exhale, lower the knees and the chest to the mat. Inhale, up to cobra. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Again, feel free to pedal the feet out here. And then see if you can begin stepping up to the front of the mat with the opposite foot of what's comfortable or normal for you. We're going to inhale, lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. Exhale, the arms down by the sides. 3 more here. Inhale, up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, lower down to the mat. I'm going to do chaturanga here. So this is top of a push-up, lowering the body down. Inhale, I'm going to lift up. You can lift up to cobra, or you can come into upward facing dog on just the toes and the hands. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. Again, feel free to bend the knees here if the hamstrings are tight. And then step the feet to the top in between the hands. Inhale, lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. Exhale, the arms down by the sides. We've got 2 more left here. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway. Exhale, lower down to the mat, either through tabletop or chaturanga. Exhale, come up to cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. Then we'll inhale, step the feet up to the top of the mat, lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. Exhale, the arms down by the sides. And 1 more time. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, lower down to the mat. Inhale, up to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. And in down dog, you want to make sure your weight is even between your hands and your feet. The weight in your hands needs to mostly be between your index fingers and your thumb. You want your fingers spread nice and wide. You want the upper arms squeezing in towards the ears. And you want to press the heels down towards the mat. They don't have to reach. They just need to head that direction. Again, feel free to pedal the feet or bend the knees if the backs of the thighs are tight. Then we'll inhale, step back up to the top of the mat, and lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, sweep the arms up and around. Exhale, the arms down by the sides. I'm going to back the mat up just a little bit, because it looks like I'm a little closer than I want it to be. So we'll take a moment, we'll just breathe here at the top of the mat. And then we're going to do a couple rounds of Sun Salutation B. So we want to make sure we've got our weight even between 4 corners of the feet. We're going to inhale, lower into chair pose. So make sure your knees are not beyond your toes. Squeeze those upper arms in towards the ears. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale, come halfway up. Exhale, lower down, either to tabletop or chaturanga. Inhale, up to cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Then we're going to inhale, lift the right foot up in the air, and exhale, place it in between the hands. You can move it over to the right if you need a little bit more width for your hips. We're going to keep the left toes back on the mat. The heel is lifted. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you bring your hands to this bent knee. So if you feel pretty stable, you can come up a little bit higher. Feel free to bring your arms up alongside the ears here. You can also lean the torso forward if this hip flexor is really tight. You don't need to reef yourself all the way back. Just listen to your body. Ground your feet into the mat and reach through the hands. And then exhale, lower the hands down. You're going to step back to downward facing dog. Then go ahead and inhale, lift the left foot up off the mat. Exhale, bring it in between the hands. Again, widen your stance if you need to for your hips. You can leave your hands here. You can also put your hands on a block if you'd like. If you feel pretty stable, maybe pull your belly button in towards the spine. You can bring your hands to your bent knee. Maybe bring it up alongside the ears. Again, feel free to lean forward with your torso if that hip flexor is tight. Then we'll exhale, lower the hands, step back to downward facing dog. And then we're going to step the feet up to the front of the mat in between the hands. Inhale, lift the torso halfway up. Exhale, fold forward. And then inhale, we're going to sink the hips, lower into chair pose. Exhale to stand. Lower the hands down by the sides. So next we're going to go ahead and turn to the right of the mat, or face the right side of the mat. We're going to step the feet 3 to 4 feet apart. We're going to pick up the right heel, move it away from us just a tiny bit. Pick up the right toes, rotate them out to the left. We want our hips pointing towards the upper right corner of the mat. We're going to keep our hands on our hips. We're going to twist just the torso back to the right. Keep that right leg nice and strong, extended all the way through the heel and the back outer edge of the right foot. We're going to bend the left knee and lift the arms into a T and come into warrior 2. So again, make sure your weight is even between both of your feet. Make sure your torso is placed in between both of your legs. You're not leaning forward or leaning back. Then we're going to flip the left palm to face the ceiling. And we're going to reach up and back to reverse warrior. Then we'll inhale, we'll come forward, fix my microphone. Straighten that left knee and step your right foot up to the top of the mat. Let's take a moment here in mountain pose. So again, feeling those roots going out through the heels into the center of the earth. Take a couple breaths here. And then we're going to turn to face the left. So we'll step the feet 3 to 4 feet apart once again. This time we're going to pick the left heel up, move it away from us a tiny bit, pick up the right toes, rotate them out. We'll point the hips towards the left corner of the mat this time. Lock the hips in place, turn just the torso back to the left. And then we're going to bend the right knee and bring the arms up to a T once again. Want to make sure that right knee is pointing out. We want to be able to see the inside ankle and the right big toe. You can gaze down the middle finger. Then we'll flip the right palm to face the ceiling. Lightly place the left hand back behind us. Bring the torso back just a little bit. Then inhale, come back up to center. Straighten that right knee. We'll step forward to the top of the mat. Take a moment here. And then we'll turn to the right once again, step the feet 3 to 4 feet apart. Pick the right heel up and move it away. Pick the left toes out, rotate them out. Again, check in with our pelvis and then move the torso back behind us. Then we'll bring the arms to a T and then extend over the left hip and come into triangle pose. So you can place your hand on the mat, on a block, either in front or behind your foot. You can place your hand on your ankle. Bring the right hand up towards the ceiling. Maybe you can turn your gaze to look at your right hand if your neck will allow that. Then we'll inhale, come back up to center. We're going to bend the left knee, rest the forearm on that knee, and come into extended side angle pose. And then we'll inhale, bring the arms back up to a T, straighten that left knee, turn the feet in. You can step the feet into the middle of the mat. And then we'll change directions here. Step the feet 3 to 4 feet apart. Move the left heel away from us. Rotate the right toes out to the right. Again, check in with the pelvis. Turn just the torso. Lift the arms up to a T. Extend over the right hip. Place the hand down either on the floor or on a block. Maybe your ankle. Just avoid the knee area and avoid hyperextending your knee. Maybe you can gaze up towards the left hand. And then we'll inhale and we'll bring ourselves back up to center. And then we'll bend the right knee, rest the right elbow on the right knee, and come into extended side angle pose. Feel the power in your feet and your legs. Maybe gaze up under your left arm. And then inhale, bring yourself back up. Straighten the right knee. You can step the left foot up to meet the right foot. Take a moment here, hands in prayer position. And then we'll go ahead and have a seat on the mat. We're going to bring the soles of the feet together into cobbler's pose or butterfly pose. If your spine curves like mine, my tailbone likes to stick out. So I like to sit up on a blanket or a pillow when I do a lot of seated poses. We'll inhale and then exhale and fold forward any amount. So that could be right here. That could be very deep. So whatever your body's craving this evening. And then we'll inhale, come back up. And then we'll take a short Shavasana corpse pose. So you want to lay down. If you've got a pillow, you might want to put it underneath your head, or if you've got low back tightness, you could place it underneath your knees. So you want to lay flat on the mat. Bring the arms out to your side. Allow the feet to splay open, however it feels natural to do so. Just allow yourself to sink into the mat. Allow the earth to support you. Remember to breathe here. Nice long inhales and exhales. Try to bring yourself back to your breath if your mind wanders. I find that focusing my breath on a body part, like breathing through my heart space or my lungs, actually helps me stay focused a little bit more. So feel free to stay in this pose as long as you need to. And once you're ready, go ahead and roll over to your right side. And then bring yourself back up to a comfortable seated position. So, in this time of uncertainty, it's really helpful to have those daily practices that help us feel grounded and connected with the earth and the things that are important with us. Maybe it's just walking outside with bare feet or sitting outside with bare feet in the earth. Maybe it's meditation, maybe it's yoga, maybe it's just having a mindful meal or even a cup of tea or coffee. But it's so critical for us to take the time to root down before we rise up and face the day and face the challenges in our lives. So I encourage you to find ways to do that for yourself. And I really appreciate you sharing your time with me this evening. And I hope that you have found some peace and some nourishment through this practice tonight. May the compassion, the light, and the energy in me honor the compassion, the light, and the energy in you. And may it serve you as you continue throughout the rest of your week. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. Namaste.